Hey socialites, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Ariell. I do mainly beauty videos, fragrance, and the occasional lifestyle vlog. So if those are the type of videos you enjoy, I'd love for you to hit the subscribe button and come join the family. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I got this look using mostly Sephora collection products. Some of these are new products, which is why I was so excited to go ahead and film this look, because everything Sephora collection is 30% off right now all the way until the 15th. So before we get started, let's unlock day 11 in our Revolve Beauty Advent Calendar. So here we go. So on each video, we unlock a new day in our advent calendar, and it's been some good stuff so far. So 11 is here. This is from Goop Beauty. It's the Goop Glow, a microderm instant glow exfoliator. I've never heard of this brand, and I'm gonna go ahead and add this to the giveaway, and this is what it looks like. So if you're new here, every December I do a pretty good giveaway with a lot of my favorite things, and I do throw some other random goodies in there. It's gifted to 2 socialites at the end of Vlogmas, and we pretty much go by engagement in the comments. So I will comment on every video during Vlogmas, and if you want to see how I got this look and my thoughts on some new products, then keep watching. Okay, socialites, so a couple of the products that we're using today is actually going to be in a haul coming up. But listen, just act like you didn't see it, because that video has to be approved, and this is Sephora collection, so we need to try this out now. I was actually excited for this, 2 reasons. Last night I was thinking I want to do a Sephora collection look because you guys may want to take advantage of the 30% off that's going on right now until the 15th. So I was thinking about all the Sephora collection products I have, and I don't have a primer for them, and I didn't even know if they had a primer. So when I went into the store today to pick a couple things up, first thing I see on the end cap is this Smooth and Blur primer from Sephora collection. It has ginkgo extract and stabilized vitamin E, and I'm like, so perfect. But also I was thinking on the way to the store, because I've fallen in love with the Sephora collection eyeshadows. The single ones for me have been hit or miss. There's some that I really love, but I've swatched some that just seemed like they weren't that great. But their new palette I'm obsessed with, and they have another one too that we're going to talk about in an upcoming video. And one of my favorite palettes in Sephora right now is the Patrick Ta palette, the Major Dimension 3, that has the neutral shades. Let me show y'all. If you're not new here, you've definitely seen me use it before, but not only is the quality second to none, the quality is excellent, y'all, but it just has those neutral shades that you can create any look that I think most people can appreciate these type of shades. Imagine if Sephora collection had something like that. So when I went in there today, I see the primer, and the second thing I see is a neutral palette from Sephora collection. And I was like, this is just my day. Okay, so this is the Moving Lights palette. It has, did I have it upside down? It's the Lights Moving palette, or Moving Lights palette. It has 8 shades in here, because I swatched it in store and the quality was decent. So this is what it looks like. It has like a rubber band on here that's attached to the palette, and then you just slide it right out. So it has some neutral shades in here. Some of these browns look a bit cool. So these first 4 colors here, these 3 are matte, and that one's like a satiny, almost like a shimmer. So here are the 4 shades, and they do swatch with great pigment to it. So this set of 4 is swatched here. And I believe this palette was $12, you guys. So these are the shimmers. This one is like a straight glitter. We're gonna try it on the eyes today. Let's go ahead and get started. I've already moisturized my skin, so I'm gonna start off with the Sephora Smooth Blur primer. I don't know if this primer is new or not, so let me know if you've tried this before. What do you think about it? When I tested it in the store, I just put a little on my hand. It sort of reminded me of the texture of the Professional, the Benefit Professional, kind of like one of those type of almost putty-like primers that's slightly mattified. So I'm pretty sure this is way too much, but that's what it looks like. So you see it doesn't move at all, and it feels almost just like Professional. It may be a little smoother and slightly thinner than the Professional. This area is where I see the most pores on both sides, so let's put that in there. So we are getting blurring, and it's slightly filling the pores. So I like to let my primer sit for about a minute or two before I go in with foundation. And usually after like 2 minutes, you can really see what it does on the skin, because sometimes these primers, it'll look like it only fills in the pores slightly, but once you wait 2 minutes, you can see like your pores have shrunk quite a bit. Or is it shrunk or is it shrank? So I'll put a little bit here. See how much is left? So you only need a tiny bit of these type of primers. While that's sitting, we'll go ahead and brush up our brows with the CoverGirl Clean Brow Gel. Sephora collection does have a brow gel, but y'all, it's not my favorite. It's so much of a light hold. It's almost like I hadn't used anything on my brows, but I heard so many people rave about it. It just wasn't my favorite. So for foundation, I have two Sephora collection, I guess you could call them foundations. The Best Skin Ever foundation. This one is more so like one of those full coverage matte foundations. When I wear this, I get about 5 hours before I start to see like shine on my skin, and I usually have to touch up a little bit between 5 and 6 hours. Now, if I use a primer with this, one of my favorite primers, I get about, I would say, 7-ish hours before I see a little bit of shine. It does give you a picture perfect look, and I've gotten compliments wearing this one. I don't wear it too often because I'm not into the super matte foundations like I used to be, but this is a good one. And if you're my shade twin, it's shade 35 in is what this is, but I'll have everything listed in the description box as well. What's one of my favorite complexion products that I've tried in 2024 is the Sephora collection Reveal the Real Skin Tint. You can use this pretty much like a foundation. That's how much coverage you can get from it, but it's like a lightweight at the same time. My shade is 250 O Deep, which works really well for me. See that shade? So let's get closer so you guys can see the coverage in sort of my worst areas first. So BK Beauty does have a new set, and I showed you guys this set in yesterday's video. So the new set has the 114, 115, and 116. So this is the 101. This is the new one, which is the 115. And this came in the original trio, which is the 109. So this middle brush, the new 115, is what was designed to fit, you know, in between that sizing gap. We're gonna use the new one today. Just blend that out. Such a natural finish. Another thing I like about this foundation, it's almost like you can't apply too much because it just doesn't get heavy. You'll get that coverage, but it's never gonna look heavy. I didn't really put any foundation like in this area, and only a tiny bit on the forehead. I'm gonna mix a couple of the Sephora collection concealers today. Best Skin Ever in 35 in. Once it oxidizes on my skin, it almost looks exactly like my skin tone, so it doesn't give me very much of a highlight. The Best Skin Ever Glow, which is their newer concealer. This is thinner. It has a little bit more radiance to it, and it's almost like that medium to sheer coverage, whereas Best Skin Ever is full coverage. So I'm just gonna mix a little bit of the two. I don't think I've ever mixed the two for highlighting purposes before, or really for any reason. Great quality puff. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend this out because the original Best Skin Ever, the one with the full coverage, does dry kind of fast. So, and it does give a pretty flawless blend. Okay, let's go in with the Sephora Collection Contour Stick. This one's in the shade medium to tan. This one's actually on my December makeup tray. It's a little deep compared to what I normally use. This dries kind of fast too, so you want to go ahead and blend. And I'm going to try out the 116 brush that's in the new BK Beauty brush set. I think the set just came out yesterday, I want to say. So the 114 is like a dual-sided brush, kind of like that Nikki LaRose foundation brush. I don't own any Sephora Collection blushes, and I don't even think Sephora Collection has cream or liquid blushes. I could be mistaken, but I don't think they do, and I don't have any of their powder blushes. But I'm doing a red lip today, so we're going to use the Luminous Silk blush, the red one from Giorgio Armani. I got this during the Sephora sale. I'm going to wipe off the product off our 116 brush and use the same brush that I used to blend the cream contour to blend the blush. This is quite pigmented. I don't remember it being this pigmented. I wouldn't have added this much. Probably started off with using only a tiny bit. Okay, so we're gonna have a heavier blush look than what I anticipated. Just the Glow concealer from Sephora Collection because it's lighter. I'm gonna let it sit for about a minute or two. It only comes in one shade, which is translucent, and I do know some people who really love this powder, but I find that it does slightly brighten my complexion, so I like to use it under eye but not really all over. So let's blend. I'm gonna go in with the Sephora Collection loose powder to set my highlighted areas, make sure that it's smooth on my puff. And it is a pretty matte formula in my opinion. I really didn't get much creasing, if any, under eye with those concealers mixed together because I didn't have to go back in and smooth before I applied the powder. But to set all over, I'm gonna use the Sephora Collection Micro Smooth Powder. My shade is Mahogany. I use this to set all over, and I like to use a big fluffy brush with this. If you wanted to compare this to another powder, I would say the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish, if you ever used that before. This one has a little bit less coverage than the Mineralized Skin Finish, and it doesn't have that sort of radiance that the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish has. I use the skin finishes on my clients. Slightly more radiant on the skin, and the colors are a little bit more rich with the MAC ones, but this is still one of my favorites, especially because of the price difference. Sephora Collection Brow Pencil, which is one of my favorites. It was like my #1 fave for a long time before I just got introduced to the Merit, the new Merit brow pencil. But that brow pencil came out like a few months ago, and I'm already on my 3rd pencil. Sephora Collection, I know for a fact in 3 months I would probably still be on my 1st pencil, maybe barely going into the 2nd. So I don't think you get that much product in the Merit one. Best Skin Ever is the go-to concealer that I use to clean up my brows because I like how subtle the color looks, and I like the amount of coverage that it puts on my lid. I finally got the Christmas decor up, y'all. That's why I missed a day of Vlogmas, and it was just a fail. I tried to be super mommy and let the kids help me this year, because usually what I do is I do the tree, and after I'm done, I let them put their little personalized ornaments on there that usually have nothing to do with the decor of the tree. They really wanted to help, and literally when it was done, it looked so jumbled up and horrible, and they said it before I did. Like AJ and Trey backed up and looked at the tree and was like, mommy, this doesn't look good. Let's just take it off and you do it, you know? And I'm like, Really, but I'm glad they said it and not me. I had just got so frustrated with it. I had to call in the big guns and have my granny come over. So I'm gonna be working off of this. I want a red lip, so we want this to be a neutral eye for the most part. I want to use some of these Angie Hot and Flashy brushes that I hadn't used yet from BK Beauty, A502, this blender. This one first and then this one. So initially when I put the brush in here, you do see that sort of kickback. Y'all see that color? So it's a cool tone medium brown, which with the base of that concealer on my lid, it does definitely show up. So yeah, I called Granny over and she hooked that tree up. She had me put the ornaments at the top. She made the tree topper. It only took her like 10 minutes. And I never had a tree topper on my tree. I always decorated really nice, but I've never fallen in love with a topper. And the one she made is so, so pretty. And then she did the mantle with like the leftover ornaments and leftover ribbon from the tree. And when I tell you she ate it up, looks so, so good. She even did the entry hallway with leftover ribbon and like leftover ornaments. BK Beauty 209 brush, which is a small shader brush. I'm gonna take the lightest, like that cream color. This is gonna be our lid color. Very pigmented. Let's try this pinky shade here right above the white. I'm just gonna flip the brush to the opposite side and we're gonna put it like right here. I just want you guys to see, and I want to see for myself what it looks like. And this one is smooth and pigmented as well. They're smooth and they blend well into each other. In this palette, as far as the browns, are a little bit more cool than what I would wear with a red blush and a red lip. So let's try the glittery shade, and it's literally like pigments of glitter. It's not really like a base shade that has glitter on top. I would have really loved for these to be warm. So this is giving Winter Wonderland to me, which is not what I was going for, and I don't think that glitter is my favorite. This one's in the shade Chocolate. Sephora collection is Love the Lift. It does give a nice lift to your lashes. It curls them up, but because of that, I don't like to use it on the bottom lash line because it curls them, but going downward. Sephora collection Coconut for the waterline, and the darkest brown I'm gonna smudge right underneath. Now I do like the way it looks underneath the waterline. Lancome Hypnotize Drama Mascara. To brighten under eye, I'm gonna use my a 12-hour setting and mattifying from Sephora collection. Only like to use this to brighten. Cork from MAC for lip liner. One of my favorite formulas of lip gloss. This is a plumping gloss from Sephora collection. This one's in the shade 07, which is a really pretty pink. These are some pigmented glosses. They're long lasting. They're like those thicker old school formulas, but it has a little bit of that mintiness in there, like that you would get from a plumping gloss. I was gonna do a red lip with this, but seeing this sort of almost wintry eye look, I thought this pink would go best with it, which it does. I think the eyes and the lips look good together. Gonna take another Sephora collection micro smooth powder. This one's in the shade Ebony. It's a little bit deeper than the shade Mahogany that I used all over. Deepen the contour a little bit, but it's not gonna be too dark because this is subtle. So when I stopped at Sephora today, there was an Ulta around the corner. Y'all, when I tell you it's the best Ulta in the city of Houston, period. Well, there's one that kind of compares, but I think this one is newer, so I like it better. It's in the Heights, if you guys are familiar with the Heights. But I went in there because I'm out of my Smashbox pen. This is like a concealer pen. Now I only use this to conceal blemishes. You see how I can still see a little bit of blemishes, but what I love about this the most is this is a product that you can also use on top of powder and it looks seamless. So if you want to finish the look and then conceal what needs to be concealed after you're done. You can do that on top of powder, or even if you did your cream products and then concealed after the cream. What that does is help me not have too many thick layers on my skin. Everything's been on sale, and so it kind of hurt my little feelings to buy this at full price today. This was at the front of Ulta. So e.l.f. has some new lip oils. So they have these that have sort of that sheen to them, like a little bit of a iridescence to them. So I picked up these two colors. I think they have 4 shades. So we'll try those out next time. And let's go in with my fresh concealer pen. And you only need a tiny bit of it, just a little bit. It's a thin product, so it's not heavy at all. So Charlotte Tilbury. Just washed my hair this morning, y'all, so it was wet. So this is the final look. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'll keep y'all posted on the primer, on how long wearing the foundation was, or any differences I see, which may be a little tough because the Sephora collection skin tint is so long lasting anyway without any primer. That's been my experience anyway. So I'll still keep you guys posted on anything that I might notice different with it. If you're new here, welcome. I'd love for you to come join the family by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. 'Cause I've been where you are. You're too scared to show me love. 'Cause too fresh with the scars. Well, I don't have the answers.